It is Wednesday. I don't think you guys expected to see me today. Red button, means we're live. Some Casual Takes, episode 77, hosted by your boy, Stephen Pepper, here to casually talk sports. This episode is brought to you by no one, and it's Wednesday. Check your calendars. Monday was 2 days ago. Friday's not for another 2 days. Unless you guys slept in since Monday, and it's all the way to Friday. I must be like, gotcha. And that note he hit, and you guys are probably tripping. Yes, I'm here on a Wednesday. Like I said, whenever I have the time to do it, I want to do more episodes. With the NBA season being alive and playing almost every single day helps. So I want to bring you guys more episodes. Yeah. So yeah, we're here on this Wednesday. It's a good day out on this Wednesday as well. We have some few things to talk about. Of course, the Bills fired their offensive coordinator. Clippers Nuggets was last night. Some NBA in-season tournament. Grizzlies Lakers. Got to talk about the Lakers. Good win for the Lakers last night. But real quick, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this before we get into the main topics of the day. So what did I say last podcast? I said this. Browns beat the Ravens. I said the Cleveland Browns have the roster to compete for a Super Bowl. I think they just do. I mean, when you look at their running backs, yes, Nick Chubb got hurt, but Ford Hunt, solid. They have Amari Cooper, good. Njoku, good. Tight end. Defense, best in the league. I think when you're playing behind that defense with those skill positions, that's a good enough roster. Or if they have a serviceable quarterback, like play slightly above average, that team can push for a Super Bowl. Not win it, but at least push for a Super Bowl. And I saw Deshaun Watson in the second half of that game look very serviceable. And I said, if he plays above average, he can take that Browns team to the Super Bowl. If he plays like Houston, Deshaun Watson somehow, I think that team could easily win the AFC. But if he can just be serviceable, this team could push for the Super Bowl. I mean, look at the Vegas odds. The Browns, after that win, they're climbing up the Super Bowl ladder. They're back on everyone's power rankings as one of the best teams in the AFC. Unfortunately, the Cleveland Browns, like the New York Jets, have to be one of the most cursed franchises of all time because Deshaun Watson today, as soon as I woke up, I rolled out of bed, checked my phone to check the news in the morning. I see that notification. It was so funny because this matter isn't funny, but the notification was because it was instantly as I turned on my phone. Deshaun Watson will undergo season-ending surgery to repair a fracture on his throwing shoulder, and he will be out for the rest of the season. Apparently, he was playing on that shoulder. It got hurt against the Ravens. It was playing on it, but to not have further injury, they'll shut him down for the rest of the season. That is just brutal. That is just so brutal if you're a Browns fan. My friend texted me today. He said, I don't think you'll ever see the Browns win the AFC North. Bro, I don't think I will. It's just like the Jets. They got so close to contention, and they just robbed their fans of this. Now they're going to have to rock with P.J. Walker for the rest of the season. P.J. Walker, he's not good at football. I get it. He beat the 49ers. Stop. He's just not that good at football. This team has no shot. They're probably still with that defense. Again, all you need with that roster, that defense, those skill position guys, you just need a serviceable quarterback. I bet P.J. Walker's serviceable for 1 or 2, 3 more games for the rest of the season. They make a wild card spot, especially since the playoffs got expanded to 7 teams now. Additional spot they can make in, but they're not doing any noise. They're not making any noise. See, it's so hard for Browns fans, man. And I said last show that if Watson can just be above average, win a couple playoff games or 2, push for a Super Bowl, that contract that they gave him, fully guaranteed for $230 million, although I don't think will ever be worth it unless he wins the Super Bowl, you can digest it a little bit and be like, okay, we're a losing franchise. We push for a Super Bowl, the furthest we ever been since like the 80s, since the first we've ever been since we moved back to Cleveland. We can kind of understand this contract was somewhat worth it. But he's played 12 games over the course of 2 seasons. Remember, he was suspended for the first half last year, was dealing with injuries. Then he was dealing with injuries this season. 12 games combined over 2 seasons. He got paid $92 million for that. This is brutal. I feel so bad for Browns fans. I feel absolutely bad for Browns fans. Like, P.J. Walker, enjoy the rest of the season. Enjoy the playoff bid because I think they're, 6-3. That defense is just too good not to miss the playoffs. But it's over. That's brutal. All right, let's go into the Bills firing their OC. So yesterday morning, following a loss to the Denver Broncos on Monday Night Football, the Buffalo Bills fired their offensive coordinator, Ken Dorsey. I first want to say I agree with this firing. Listen, Ken Dorsey, not a terrible offensive coordinator. I have my issues with him. The inability to have a consistent run game to rely on and stuff like that. And it's clear that the team was just better off with Brian Dable. He couldn't bring the Bills to the conference championship Super Bowl ceiling they wanted to. Lost in the division last season. And then this year they start 5-5. You're the face of the offense. Offense is struggling, 5-5. You're the offense coordinator. You just get fired in that situation. Sean McDermott, who I do like, I have my, love-hate relationship with him because I do respect the fact that he brought the Bills out of the gutter. Bills are mostly a joke for my life because I wasn't born for those 4 straight Super Bowls. So they were just mostly a joke for my life, and he got them up to a respectable playoff team, but it looks like he has a ceiling. So McDermott could be fired soon. So I don't disagree with the fact that they fired Ken Dorsey, but I think it's just too easy to point a finger at a coach. Because while I don't disagree that Ken Dorsey got fired, Ken Dorsey's the scapegoat. Because I think y'all don't want to admit that the team's biggest problem could be their superstar quarterback. At the end of the day, Dorsey isn't under center, dropping back to throwing interceptions. He's not. It's Josh Allen who's doing that. Allen is leading the league right now with 11 interceptions. He has more turnovers since entering. He has the most turnovers since entering the league in 2018. This is Josh Allen, not Ken Dorsey. Josh Allen's the one throwing interceptions, having underthrown balls, not Ken Dorsey. Like, what can Ken Dorsey do there? And I think Allen's sloppiness, not Ken Dorsey's play calling, is trickling down to the rest of the roster and affecting the team's offense. Why do you think the Buffalo Bills come out every single game slow and sloppy and turn over the ball? Because of Josh Allen's recklessness. It's trickling down to the rest of the team. Allen starting the game with early interceptions, early bad incompletions, sloppy play, and it's affecting the rest of the team. What can Dorsey do there? Allen is just so like Brett Favre, where his arm is a blessing and a curse. His arm. Just like Favre, I think you can make the argument that Allen is the most talented quarterback of his era, just like Brett Favre. You can make the argument that Favre was the most talented quarterback of his era. So when I look at Josh Allen's arm, he might have the best arm talent in all of football when it comes to strength. When it comes to, like, I want to see him and Mahomes have an arm talent competition because you can argue that Allen actually beats out Mahomes when it comes to strength. Allen might have a slightly stronger arm than Mahomes. Arm angles, throw on a run, just there's not a throw that Allen can't make. That's what makes Josh Allen a star. But just like Favre, it's a curse because they can lose them games. Allen's arm can single-handedly win games, but single-handedly lose games. It's why Brett Favre only has 1 Super Bowl and a lot of ugly losses to turnovers. Same with Josh Allen. Well, he doesn't have Super Bowl yet, but a lot of losses to ugly turnovers. How is this Dorsey's fault, though? It's weird because Allen in September, these last 2 Septembers with Ken Dorsey, looks like the MVP. They're blowing teams out. He's putting up ridiculous stats, and there's not a single peep about Dorsey in September. But then as the season goes on, Allen's turnovers go up. They start losing games. You guys want to immediately kick out Dorsey. Like Ken Dorsey's the one throwing interceptions. Dorsey didn't drop the ball, didn't throw the ball 1,000 miles an hour to Gabe Davis that went off his hand, led to an interception. Dorsey isn't running the football like James Cook and fumbling the ball. He's not underthrowing Diggs, back shoulder throw, and throw an interception. That's Josh Allen. And the Bills season is over. If you were to tell me in the preseason, because I'm a Bills guy, I'm not a Bills fan, but I've been picking the Bills to win the AFC and push for a Super Bowl for like the last 2 years, especially since they had that close Chiefs loss. That was really their year. I thought that team should have won the Super Bowl that year, that Bills team, but I've been picking them ever since. It's over. If you were to tell me this summer, I'd be like, oh, you're crazy. They would be 5-5. I didn't win the division and I'm pushing for a Super Bowl. I would have thought you're crazy. This is on Allen. They're 5-5 now. Bad loss. They have just bad losses. Listen, I tell my friends this. It kind of like relates to school. Tell my friends this. School, tests are hard, but if you want to get good grades, do the homework, do the completion assignments, do the gimme points, do the extra credit, get the gimme points. If you want good grades in school, especially in high school, do the gimmies, get the freebies. So when it comes to the hard tests, the exams, You can lose on a couple tests. You can fail a couple tests. You can get C's on a couple tests, and your grade would still be solid. So for NFL teams, win the easy games, kill the teams below 500. Those are completion assignments. All you got to do, don't matter if it's home, away, neutral site, walk in there, destroy them. You're better than them. Get the easy assignment out the way. So then when you play a real team, a contender, a playoff lock, a team above 500, a well-coached team with a real quarterback, you can take a loss or two, and it won't hurt you overall in your record. You can still have a really good record, or in school sense, a really good grade. What's happening with the Bills is that they're 5-5 with a gauntlet ahead of them. It's like the Bills are like a high school student who has like a D or who has like a C before any exams have been taken. Like they have losses to the Patriots, the Jets, the Broncos, barely beat the Giants. Those are bad losses. They have bad losses, and the rest of their schedule is a gauntlet. I mean, where are the gimmies here for the Bills? Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys, Chargers, Dolphins again. I know they beat the Dolphins, but Dolphins are still a good team. And then the Patriots, they already lost to the Patriots. They already lost to the Jets. Where's the gimmies on this roster, on the schedule? So again, no one fears the Bills anymore. You feel the Bills the last 2 years, but now with these Allen turnovers, Allen is such a special quarterback that you can live with a couple interceptions just like Brett Favre. But if he's turning the ball over at this rate, it's just too much. And the team can't win like this. They can't generate a rhythm and win comfortably. They can't if Allen's turning the ball over like this. They're just a mess. And I think Ken Dorsey is the scapegoat. It's the face of all this, when in reality, it's Josh Allen. Even though, again, I still think Josh Allen is one of the three best quarterbacks in the league, 3 or 4 best quarterbacks in the league. He's that talented. He still is. But I think we got to blame Josh Allen today and stop blaming Ken Dorsey. All right, let's talk some NBA before we wrap up. Got the Clippers and Nuggets. They played last night. The Clippers lost in-season tournament. I think they're mathematically eliminated from the in-season tournament now, because I think if you get 2 losses out of the 4 in the in-season tournament group play, you're mathematically eliminated. They lost 111 to 108 in the house of the undefeated at-home defending champs. The Clippers are now 0-5 with James Harden on the floor, 0-6 since the trade. I see everyone on social media taking their victory laps, saying that Harden is the issue. Everyone on social media knows they're taking their victory laps. Who thought at the beginning Harden would be the issue and hurt the Clippers are taking their victory lap now that they're 0-5 with him. I mean, cut Harden a break, man. How is this on him? Harden had an impactful 21 points, but I guess it's his fault, man. Cut him a break, dude. Listen, if you think that the Harden trade made the Clippers worse, it's 2 things. One, you have hate in your heart for James Harden. Plus, you don't know it, but you overvalue the Clippers before the trade. Listen, the reason why I liked the Harden trade, I came on this show, I said a lot of things about the Harden trade positive for the Clippers. The reason why I liked the Harden trade was because I thought that the Clippers didn't give up much of the rotational depth for James Harden. I'm not a huge fan of putting a lot of stars together. But the reason why I liked the Harden trade is because I didn't think the Clippers gave up most of their key rotational pieces for James Harden. So it's like, okay, why not? But I guess most people thought they did so. Like, most of their key rotational people are still there. So if you think that Harden is the reason why the Clippers are losing, or if you think that Harden is hurting the Clippers and one of the reasons why they're losing, start listing the issues for the Clippers then. Let's go through them. A noticeable issue is Ty Lue's rotation. Obviously, adding a future Hall of Fame ego into the rotation like James Harden doesn't help. But when it comes to matters like, should I start or sit Russell Westbrook? When do I go big with Zubac or not? That's been the Clippers' issue before James Harden even packed his bags. A second issue is defense. Let's be honest here. Like, you don't need a master's degree to understand that James Harden isn't a plus defender. But we need to realize soon that the Clippers are just not the same defensive team they were when they first joined together. Kawhi and Paul George, still solid defenders, but they're not the same from 2019. They're not. They have a 0 point of attack defender post Patrick Beverley. And they have no rim protection because Zubac isn't providing that. Reggie Jackson and Nikola Jokic were going to go off regardless if James Harden was a Clipper or not. And another issue, on their losing streak, Kawhi Leonard hasn't been shooting well. One of the reasons why you were so high on the Clippers is because you thought Kawhi Leonard was still a top 5 to 7 player when healthy. It doesn't really look like that today. And Russell Westbrook, he's shooting poor before or after James Harden. We know this. Like I'm watching their rotation last night. Again, when to play Harden? When does Harden pair with who? Where do we play Harden? Where do we not play Harden? Of course, adding Harden into the Ty Lue rotation doesn't help. That's a future Hall of Fame mouth to feed. Adding another ball handler into the offense doesn't help the ball movement, doesn't help cohesiveness. But watch the rotation last night. The Clippers were up. James Harden was playing well. But Ty Lue didn't know when to play Westbrook or not. When to start or sit Westbrook, who's been an energy boost on this team. Randomly benched Westbrook when they needed momentum. And they got killed defensively in their rotations. And the end of the game and let the Nuggets come back and win. Because if you watch Ty Lue, I get Zubac doesn't provide rim protection. And Zubac has rebounding problems. He's not the best rebounder in the world. He doesn't have great touch offensively around the rim. He's more of a negative on this Clippers team. But no Plumlee. You take Zubac out the rotation. He didn't play more than 30 minutes last night. You take Zubac out the rotation. Who's your backup big? Who's playing center? They had Kawhi Leonard, Terrence Mann, Paul George, James Harden throwing bodies at Jokic, and Jokic was feasting, and which was a huge reason, created mismatches. Aaron Gordon at the dunker spot was getting opportunities from those double teams and one-on-one matchups with Terrence Mann. That's why the Nuggets came back and won the game. Rotation. But the Harden trade doesn't help, but it doesn't hurt. Because the role players they gave up for Harden, they weren't going to help in that situation. Batum, Rocco, Martin Jr., like Morris, those guys weren't going to help at all. Those, if you were to play the Clippers and Nuggets without James Harden and had that old Clippers team from day one, the Clippers still lose. And it's because of the same issues that I just explained. And none of that has to do with James Harden. So James Harden said after the game, he says this, quote, I kept reiterating, I didn't have a training camp or a preseason. So kind of learning on the fly. He also said, quote, also getting myself into James Harden shape, whatever that means. James Harden shape. Tonight was definitely another step in the right direction and just keep improving. Listen, I said it. They're going to figure it out. These are future Hall of Famers. No training camp, no preseason. They're going to develop the chemistry. The chemistry is going to come with these guys. And if it's not going to be perfect, it's not going to be perfect. But again, what I say every show, what James Harden will bring to this team is more valuable than what Batum, Morris, and those other role players that they gave up will ever bring to this team. The issues that you have with the Clippers are not because of James Harden. They've been there for the last year. They were there last year. You can even say they were there the year before. They're especially there at the beginning of the season. I know they started 3-1. They built a bunch of rebuilding teams, and Paul George had master classes to even win those games. But now Kawhi Leonard's shooting is going down. Russell Westbrook's still shooting bad. Defensively, they're not good in the interior. They played in Nikola Jokic. They lost by 3. We're winning most of the game to the defending champs on the road, a place where they're undefeated. Chill out. I get you want to take your victory laps, but at the end of the day, they're going to figure this out. Are they going to be as good as we expect? No. And the reason why they're not going to be as good as we expect is because they weren't that good in the first place. If you seriously thought the Clippers were this contender before James Harden, you were just overvaluing them. That's it. That's it. You did not notice the Clippers' issues before James Harden got there. So when James Harden gets there, their issues are now exposed because they're actually playing more real teams, Knicks, Nets, Nuggets, Lakers. Now you're like, oh, shoot, let's just blame it all on Harden. You just don't like James Harden. And you want to take your victory lap because you just don't like James Harden. All right, let's talk Grizzlies, Lakers before I have to go to class. So my Lakers. Psst, ah. They was hot last night, boy. They was hot from behind the arc. What a good game that was. 134 to 107. Didn't think the Lakers could do this. Said it a couple of streams ago. I was like, yo, this Lakers team, I don't think they could ever win comfortably like this. Woo-hoo. They won comfortably. They won by damn near 30. Before we get into the Lakers game, sorry, I bumped the mic. I want to go to this Shams tweet, Shams, whatever you have you, that came about from last night. So Shams tweeted that NBA teams, it's a developing story, NBA teams are probing the availability of Bulls two-time All-Star Zach Lavine, and there's increased openness from both sides about exploring a trade, sources say. There's also more tweets from other insiders saying DeMar DeRozan, Vucevic, Caruso, guys like that are going to be on the open market soon. Teams are sending scouts to Bulls games to really find out the value of these Bulls players. So the Bulls, what did I say in the offseason, guys? This Bulls team should have been blown up immediately as last season ended. They're finally trying to trade this mid-3. This big three that they formed 2 years ago dealt with injuries. It got to 6 seed, got beaten 5 the Milwaukee Bucks. Last year they missed the playoffs. As soon as they get the notification that Lonzo Ball was not going to be able to play this season, this mid-3 should have instantly gotten broken up. Didn't think this big 3 was good enough to make a huge run to begin with. A lot of people thought they were. No, this big 3 was mid. I'm glad they're finally trying to trade this 3. But of course, the LeBron-obsessed media already threw the Lakers hats in the ring. You know, there's a star on the trade block. These last 8 years with the LeBron team, they're always trying to put the Lakers, the Heat, the Cavs, blah, 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 LeBron teams into the ring like, oh, this team could be interested. The Lakers have played 11 games. Let's pump the brakes. Let's chill. Let's take the Lakers out of trade talks when they just played 11 games and they're 6-5. They're above 500. You know how long it took them to get above 500 last year? Last year, when they formed a big 3. Now you want them to form a big 3 this year? It took them till about February, March to get above 500. They're 500 today. The Lakers have issues. Of course they do. I know their issues. I do. But they have to start, if they want to solve their issues, let's start with it. Because all I heard all offseason was that this Lakers team, and I've been preaching, I thought the Lakers won the offseason. A lot of people also agreed. But now all of a sudden the Lakers have issues and they got to blow it up to go get Zach Lavine. Let's chill. Let's look from within. What's our 2 biggest problems right now? Rotation. Yes, the rotation hasn't been that good this year, but a lot of it has to do with injuries. But now last night, I know, albeit play the Memphis Grizzlies, they're not that good. It's still a Memphis Grizzlies team, pretty solid. You know, you'll take it. They won by 30. The rotation seemed better last night. They moved Reese to the bench. And the injuries, people are just injured all year. Rui Hachimura's back, Prince back, you got guys back. I mean, Gabe Vincent's still not back. Just let the injuries and the rotation play, till about the deadline. Then we'll figure it out. The Lakers can't even trade their pieces until December 15th. So even all the pieces that you want the Lakers to trade for Zach Lavine or who have you, the Lakers can't even trade those guys until next month because of the NBA's rules. I said no to Zach Lavine last deadline, if you guys remember, because of Levine's issues. He's overpaid, in my opinion. He's making $40 million a year. The Lakers just can't take that. To even get Zach Lavine, you have to cut all the Lakers' depth. And Zach Lavine, although he's still very athletic and can shoot, he's not the same athlete or shooter as he was a couple years ago. And he's a cone on defense. Although I do think that Zach Lavine could give him an extra bona fide bucket to take pressure off LeBron. I'm a guy who likes LeBron, AD, plus a championship-winning depth. And I love the Lakers' depth. They have championship-winning depth. Saw it last year, and now over the course of a season, more chemistry, better rotations. The depth is going to look better this season. And it was on full display last night. They won by 30 without LeBron and AD scoring over 20 points. LeBron played 23 minutes last night. That's good for the long haul. He didn't play last game against the Trailblazers. Now he plays 23 minutes, still hurting his calf a little bit, said it's not 100%. LeBron plays games like this because beginning of the season, LeBron had to play all the fourth quarters and all the overtimes. But the Lakers, who can look just decent, not horrible. They look decent when LeBron wasn't on the court. If they can just look decent without LeBron, they need the Trailblazers without LeBron. If they can just look decent without LeBron's minutes go down, it's good for the long haul. I mean, look at the team. Look at the team last night. AD, monster, 6 blocks. But look at the depth. Prince knocked down a couple threes. Reddish coming alive these last 2 games, had about 20 against the Blazers, had 10 last night, hit 3 threes. D'Lo's the third guy. D'Lo, I have problems with D'Angelo Russell. He's looking like a good third guy. He had 24. He had 6 threes. Rui Hachimura banged 3 threes. Again, D'Lo, Rui Hachimura, those are guys you have to give up for Zach Lavine. Do you want to give them up after last night? And you got guys like Jackson Hayes, 11 points. Jackson Hayes caught a lob, looked very athletic last night. So did Jackson Hayes. And Austin Reeves, now onto the bench, which I very agree with, because now with Austin Reeves on the bench, you can put in Cam Reddish and Taurean Prince. That has Lakers, one of their biggest issues this season has been perimeter defense. You put in Prince, Reddish, length. They can also shoot as well. It's better for Austin Reeves. I didn't like how they staggered Austin Reeves' minutes as well. Now with Austin Reeves on the bench, you can stagger his minutes a bit better with the rotation. I just didn't think Austin Reeves fit in a lineup with Russell, LeBron, and AD. He's better when either one of them are out the game. So the Lakers were much better rotation today. They were such a great shooting team last night. They tied the franchise record 22 threes. They shot. I never thought I'd see the day where the Lakers won a 3-point battle like this. And it's not like the Grizzlies shot horrible. The Grizzlies still shot 37%. That's really good. The Lakers shot 63% from 3 last night. 63. And the rotational pieces, I'll remind you, Hayes, Rui, and Reddish were taken pick 8 through 10, back to back to back in the 2019 draft. They have solid, young lottery picks as their depth. This Lakers team's dangerous if they can shoot because they win every single battle. If they're playing a team that doesn't have like a Jokic or an Embiid that are a bit smaller, like Jaren Jackson at center, the Lakers are going to win the rebounding battle. They're going to win the second chance points if they're playing a smaller team. They're already winning the points in the paint and the free throw battles regardless, and they did as well last night. So if they win the 3-point battle, they've won every single battle. The Lakers can't lose. The 3-point battle is really, really key for the Lakers. And if they can keep, of course, they're not going to replicate shooting 60%, but if they can just be 37, 35, 40 or more nights, that Lakers team's golden. So, no, I don't want Zach Lavine. I don't like putting stars together, although I do think Zach Lavine can be a more guaranteed bucket without when LeBron and AD aren't playing. But if the depth can play like this, just give me to the trade deadline before I blow up this team, because I really think the Lakers have championship-winning depth. I think they still have good shooting. I think I'd rather bring in Alex Caruso for 3 and D and then still have Reeves on the bench. And I think the Lakers are good. See, the Lakers 3 in a row, haven't lost at home. This team's good. Just give it time. Don't throw our hat in the ring, LeBron-led media. I'm a huge Bron sexual. This should have been my opportunity. You would have thought I would have came on here today and said, Zach Lavine should be a Laker. Nope. I love this team. And guys, I love you all. I'll see you when I see you next show. Follow me on social media. Some Casual Takes, episode 77. I appreciate people who turned in for the Wednesday show. Till next show, have a good